There we go. There we go. Okay. Good morning, everyone. Hello. Hi. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Lovely friends and floofles. How are you guys doing today? How are you guys doing today? Oh, it's one of those rare mornings when my chat is actually much more quiet. It be happening. It do happen. It happens sometimes. But today we are going to continue reading Lily's Ghost by Laura Ruby. Due to last week's brain rot, ADHD brain rot, I could not focus on the story to save my life. So, what's gonna happen is I'm gonna continue reading it today. It's gonna be a quieter day. It's a nice day today. It's snowing on my end today. It's snowing. And I love the snow. It's not the appropriate time for snow. It's almost springtime and yet it's snowing. This is around the time of year it's supposed to get warm. Oh, darns. Darn that global warming. Anywho. Okay, we're gonna get back into it. So I hope you guys enjoy. I also hope you guys can hear me well. Hold on. Yep, you guys can hear me just fine. Okay, cool. Let's continue. Last time we left off, we met Lily, her family situation. She moved back. She moved her mother to her Uncle Wes's house. Because they had to move. Due to Lily's mom having broken up with her boyfriend and not wanting to be around that area anymore, which is fair, I guess. So they're having a new start of life, and Lily is freaked out because she thinks there's someone keeps breaking into their house and stuff, not knowing that in fact her home is haunted by ghosts. In fact, the entire town that she lives in is haunted by ghosts. She has one particular ghost that's teasing her, another one that's on fire, and we don't know any. We have yet to, and I guess, and the old couple at the beach, but we haven't met any other ghosts. So let's see if we can meet more ghosts and stuff. Oh, and she met a new guy friend named Vaz, who apparently she has a bit of a crush on. So let's go. Chapter 7. A few days after Vaz came by, her mother had a surprise. Guess who called today? Guess who's coming to dinner? To see them. Tonight. In a half hour. Odysseus? Uncle Wes! Her mother looked as if she had swallowed a large leggy bug. Isn't that nice? If you say so, said Lily. Because her mother had always acted as if family members were something to be respected but avoided, like bears or gainful employment. What are you cooking? Who's cooking? Said her mother, holding up 2 plastic bags. Thai takeout. Lily looked at the bags. Does Uncle Wes even like Thai food? The bag sank to the floor. Doesn't everybody? From her mother's description of Wes, Lily had expected some shuffling twig of a thing, but Uncle Wes was tall and spry, with silver hair combed back from a high, unlined forehead. One eye was green, the other was a peculiar icy blue. Both stared down a strong, bony nose. The 3 of them settled themselves as best as they could in the stiff parlor furniture. Lily's backside promptly fell asleep. Uncle Wes cleared his throat. You're looking well, Arden. Young as ever. Thank you, Wes, Lily's mother said. You look well as well. Uncle Wes appraised Lily from his perch in one of the Chippendales. From his perch in one of the Chippendales. Lily felt she should say something about somebody looking well, but she didn't know which of Wes's eyes to focus on. She found herself bouncing from the blue one to the green one, like an anxious bee. She looks like her father, Wes said, finally. Lily's mother crossed one leg over the other. Yes, she does. But she's tall, he said. Now that's from our line. This time he addressed Lily instead of her mother. Your grandmother was tall, and my brother. Max? Said Lily. Maximilian, he corrected. He rubbed his hands together briskly. Do you feel a draft in here? I'll turn up the heat if you like, said Lily's mother. Don't bother, he said. I'm fine. He clasped his hands on his lap. He wore jeans, but wore them awkwardly, like a man used to a suit. How do you like Cape May? It's very nice, Lily's mother said. Very, very nice, she added. And Lily, how's school so far? Lily wriggled in her seat, hoping to wake up her butt. I don't go to school. Excuse me? Uncle Wes frowned at Lily's mother. I wanted to let Lily get settled in, her mother said. I've been tutoring her at home. My mom's a great teacher, said Lily. Well, he said, clearly appalled. I'm sure she is. How about dinner? Lily's mother said brightly. I thought we'd sit in the dining room. Uncle Wes stood. Oh, I wouldn't want you to make a fuss. The kitchen's fine. It's no trouble. I already set the table, see? Lily's mother pointed to the archway. You two sit, I'll get the food. Lily plunked herself into a dining room chair, but Wes stood behind his. He seemed to be dazed by the glittering chandelier, almost mesmerized. What's the matter? Said Lily. A small muscle beneath his blue eye twitched. The chandelier is beautiful, isn't it? It was my mother's favorite. It was my mother's favorite piece in the whole house. I can't help but think of her when I look at it. Was she nice? Lily asked. Your mother? Of course, he said, but not to everyone. It was the kind of thing her own mother might have said, and Lily struggled not to cluck her tongue in disgust. Uncle Wes took a seat just as Lily's mother slipped into the room laden with platters. Uncle Wes looked at the plates piled with red and green curries, spicy rice noodles, and thin-skinned dumplings, with such a dismayed expression that Lily felt a bit sorry for him. Oh my, he said. The food is quite exotic. Her mother's mouth caved in, so that for a moment she looked like a woman without teeth. I'm sure I can find something else. Oh, I wouldn't hear of it, said Wes, pulling a linen napkin out of a gold ring and placing it across his lap. I'm sure it's delicious, whatever it is. He dug into the curries gamely. Lily's mother whispered, Go get your uncle some water. A lot of water. Your uncle, Lily thought, as she filled the glass with water at the kitchen sink. Lily wasn't sure if she liked him, and it made her feel weird. Weren't you supposed to like your family? She imagined meeting her father again. What if she didn't like him? What if he didn't like her? She heard a splashing sound and gasped. The sink was filled to the brim, the water spilling all over the floor. "Whoa!" she said, jumping back. "Lily, are you all right?" "Yes," she called. Frantic, she put the glass down before grabbing both faucets and turning them first clockwise, then counterclockwise. The water shot from the spigot as if she'd done nothing at all. "Lily, the water?" A rivulet snaked down the door. Towels. She needs towels, she thought, yanking yards of paper towels from the roll on the wall. "Earth to Lily," her mother sang. She looked down. The floor was dry. The sink was empty. The water glass sat on the counter, full. "What?" she said out loud. "What?" Seeing things again. What was with her? Mental illness? Early Alzheimer's? "Lily!" She crumpled the paper towels into a ball and threw them in the garbage can. "Coming!" She set the water down in front of Uncle Wes, and he nearly drained the glass. "Thank you," he said. He choked down some more curry. You may not look like your mother, but I'm sure you're just as smart as she is. What kind of things do you like to do?" Vaz had just asked her that question, and she figured she'd better work on some better answers. "I enjoy skydiving, splunking, and seeing things that aren't there." Yeah, right. "Hi, Sarah. Hello. You're right on time. Don't you worry about it. I hope you enjoy the story." "I like the ocean," she said. Uncle Wes leaned forward, intrigued. "Really? My brother loved the ocean. He had all kinds of books. Seafarers and adventurers and pirates. That sort of thing. I'm more interested in animals. Sharks. And giant squid. You know the biggest giant squid on record was 59 feet long? Only a few people have seen a live one. I'd like to." "Fascinating," said Uncle Wes. He glanced at his plate as if he were worried that some giant squid was mixed in with the noodles. "But you'll need money to find your big squid, won't you? How will you support yourself?" "Oh, I'm gonna be rich," said Lily. Uncle Wes coughed and he had to sip more water. "Rich? Really? How'll you manage that?" Lily wasn't sure how she'd manage it. All she knew was that she had to. She wasn't going to live hand-to-mouth the rest of her life, all dreams and nothing to finance them. She shrugged. I don't know how. I just will." Uncle Wes stared at her curiously, then set his napkin next to his plate. He shivered. "Is something wrong?" Lily's mother asked. No. I think I should replace these old windows soon." He rubbed his own arms. "If you're finished eating, I could light a fire." "A fire would be wonderful. Thank you. I'll admit I'm chilled to the bone." Uncle Wes insisted on fetching the firewood from the porch and started the fire himself. "Man's greatest invention. Fire," he said. Lily and her mother gave him the armchair closest to the fireplace. Lily, feeling rather warm and cozy, pulled off her sweater and stretched out on the couch as her mother and Uncle Wes chatted about operas and symphonies and wines. The rich, earthy smell of smoke made her feel dazed and sleepy. "Would you like a blanket?" she heard her mother say. "I don't know why I'm so cold," said Uncle Wes. "I'm right next to the fire, and you two seem comfortable." Lily opened her eyes just a bit and thought she saw a hazy fog of condensation emitting from her uncle's mouth, as if he were outside rather than in. The fire was miniaturizing in his eyes. Julep chose that moment for one of her ecstatic kitty fits and thundered into the room, batting something. A washer? A quarter? Under the couch. She jumped on the armchair and gaped, showing Uncle Wes her pointy teeth. He leaped from the chair. "What a charming creature," he said, appalled yet again. "Lily, why don't you take Julep upstairs with you?" her mother said. "Yes," said Uncle Wes. "I'm sure it's getting close to your bedtime." Lily could clearly see his breath now. She was sure of it, and it made her shudder, though she wasn't cold. She gave her mother a kiss goodnight and then turned to Uncle Wes. "It was nice meeting you, Uncle Wes," she said. She stepped closer to him, right into a wall of frigid air that smelled of ash and soot. "It's cold," she said. "That's what I've been saying," he said irritably now. "It's very cold." Yes, Lily thought, but why only around you? Gemorama. Lola watched Steffi sleep curled up in an itty-bitty ball, her itchy-witchy hair hanging off the edge of the bed. Dweeborama goes to dreamland. Lola strolled around the room. Where was her geek stuff? Geeks always had crazy little machines to smash. Model airplanes or gizmos that converted to sugar or that converted sugar to gasoline or whatever. Tiny working volcanoes. But Steffi didn't have any kind of stuff. Steffi didn't have anything. Lola began planning to arrange all of her Steffi's shoes into a room-sized smiley face. A weird little surprise for when she woke up. But the Gak monster only had 3 pairs. What kind of loser only has just 3 pairs of shoes? She opens the closet and pulls all the clothes off the hangers, but the hangers were empty. All the clothes seemed to be in a couple of skanky duffel bags on the floor. And there were only a few sweatshirts and a few pair of jeans. If Lola was her, she'd just grab a handful of silverware and take it to the junk shop for some cash. Buy something decent to wear. Leg warmers, pumps, a bitchin' miniskirt or 2. Lola herself had grabbed a silver spoon from the dining room, and now she plunged it into a jumbo jar of strawberry jam. Excuse me. Steffi didn't make a sound as Lola filled all 3 pairs of her shoes with Nature's Best fruit preserves. She then reached into one of the duffels and pulled out a flannel shirt. She wrapped the jelly jar with the shirt and buried it in the bottom of the bag. Mold City. She was bored again. She'd been bored all night, mostly because Sir Flame-A-Lot wouldn't let her get near Steffi. No, he had to hog all the hauntings, passing himself to that tall old guy with the mismatched eyes. Steffi's grandpapa, whatever, getting to the old guy's face, freezing him with that frigid ghosty ectoplasm. Lame. Though she had to admit the trick with the water was pretty gnarly. Really, if he weren't such a meanie, Lola would probably have helped him fulfill his every malicious wish. But every time she came near, he'd start waving his torch hands around and doing his crazy dance. And Lola wasn't going to be a part of that loco little show. No way. She was stuck chasing the cat for entertainment. Of course, Mr. No Fun for Anyone Else had to put the kibosh on that too, when he gave the cat the coin to play with. Oh well. A party is what you make of it, right? Lola dove back in the duffel bag. She unearthed the gem jar, still a quarter full, and turned back to Steffi, who slumbered away. Lola grinned. Sweets to the sweet. Chapter 8. Lily woke up to the sound of voices and bolted upright, imagining dolls and cascading water and gaping mouths like broken windows. The moon was high in her window, casting an eerie light around the room. The air was thick with the smell of strawberries, and there was something wrong with her face. She stumbled out of bed and ran to the door, wiping her hands across her cheeks. A gritty, sticky paste came away in her palms. She opened the door, and she heard her mother and Uncle Wes. "Arden, you must. I insist she's only a child." "Yes, she's only a child. My child." "At least let me give you something. Buy her some decent clothes, some books, whatever she needs." Her mother's voice was ragged. "We just need a place to stay for a while, that's all. I don't need your money. We don't need your money." "Well, if you are certain," he said, "all I have to do is ask, you know." "Thank you," said Lily's mother, sounding not very thankful at all. "Good night, Arden." "Good night, Wesley." Lily was creeping across the hall to the bathroom when she heard her mother crying. Her face had been slathered with some kind of fruit preserve that took 15 minutes to get off, and she stumbled back into her room and found her shoes filled with more of the same. Who would have done such a thing? Who could have? It didn't make any sense. She crouched in bed all night until the shadows dancing along the walls seemed to gather and whirl in a single humpback shape that waddled like an oversized possum in the corners of her room. The next morning, she ran downstairs to tell her mother about the jam, but she saw her mother's rimmed eyes and quivering mouth and felt the words dying on her tongue. How could she tell her mother, upsetting her more, when she hardly believed it herself? Well, mouse. Why is my mouse not moving? I think the battery died. I think the battery died in my mouse. Oh no. Yeah, it ain't moving no more. That's unfortunate. Okay. Haha. Yep, nope, it's dead. Okay. Let's see. Left alone in the creepy house, Lily distracted herself with activity. She played with the cat. She did 2 math chapters. She swept the floors and scrubbed the sink. She watched the TV special on poison jellyfish and another on Captain Kidd. She avoided the basement. As she warmed up some leftover Thai for lunch, Lily thought that what bothered her the most wasn't that weird stuff was happening, but that it was happening to her. Lily hadn't had a nightmare since she was 5 years old, and she yawned at scary books and movies. Her mother sometimes accused her of having no imagination at all. Lily had been pleased by the comment. It meant that she couldn't be fooled. Julep jumped on the table, trying to get a whiff of the noodles, but Lily shooed her away. The cat managed to produce a look so aggrieved and human that Lily said, "Oh, get over it. You don't even like spicy food. And it will just give you bad kitty breath." The doorbell chirped. Lily felt a tiny burst of hope in her chest as she quashed it down. It could just be the mailman, you know. She pressed her eye to the peephole. It wasn't the mailman. It was Vaz. She threw open the door. "Hi," she said. "Hey," said Vaz. He was carrying a backpack and a basketball. "I just wanted to see if you were around." "I'm around." She stepped aside so that he could come in. He wrinkled his nose. "What's that smell?" She covered her mouth with her hand as they walked to the kitchen. "We had pad thai for dinner last night," she said. I was just eating the leftovers." He took off his jacket and looked curiously at the food. "It looks a little like Chinese. Is it good?" "Yeah," said Lily. "I like it anyway. You've never had pad thai?" "I didn't even know that we had a Thai restaurant," said Vaz, spinning the basketball on the tip of his finger. "I thought this town was strictly fish and steak and baked potatoes. My dad used to make great souvlaki. It's lamb, like a shish kebab. I bet you never had souvlaki." "Sure I have." He stopped spinning the basketball. "You have?" "Yeah," she said, happy that she knew what souvlaki was, that she had tried it. "There was a Greek place around the corner from me where I lived in Chicago. We went there all the time." "Chicago. Right," he said, the look on his face half surprise, half admiration. "I've never been to Chicago." He peered at the food again. "Do you want to try it?" I don't know." He set the basketball on the chair. "Yes, you do." Lily got a saucer and a fork. She put a little bit of the pad thai on the plate and watched him take a bite. "It's good," he said. "What's in here, peanuts?" He scooped up another bite and swallowed. In 2 minutes, the saucer was clean. "Do you want the rest?" Lily asked. "No," he said. "That's okay. I know you were eating." "I was just going to throw it out." "Well, in that case." He grabbed the little white container and grinned. "I wouldn't want it to go to waste." He finished the leftovers in 4 or 5 large bites. "Thanks. That was really good." He put the container down on the table, gestured at Julep, who was eyeing him from the chair. "Your cat's giving me a dirty look." "Oh, well, that's because I wouldn't let her have some food." Lily finished her fruit punch and pointed to the basketball. "I was right. You do play basketball." "Yep," Beth said, "but not that well." Lily didn't like doing things she didn't do well. "So why do you play?" "Nothing better to do, I guess. I like to play tennis, but it's too cold." "Do you play tennis?" "Badly. Very badly." "That's okay," he said. "When it gets warmer, I'll teach you." He grabbed at the collar of his shirt and tugged at it. "Speaking of warmer, it does feel kind of hot in here. Does it feel kind of hot in here?" "I guess," said Lily. But then it did feel warmer. Steamy, too, like the air before a storm. Why would it be so humid all of a sudden? "The food," she said, annoyed when she heard herself. "The food," she said, annoyed when she heard the relief in her own voice. The spicy food always does that. A thought simmered up. Last night, Uncle Wes had been freezing. The food was spicy, Vaz said. He pressed his napkin to his upper lip, where sweat had begun to bead. How about some water? Lily said, her brain chattering. Water. Yeah, that's what we need. Water will fix it. Her head felt woozy, as if she had a fever. She got up and threw her punch cup in the sink, opened a cabinet, and fumbled with the water glasses that weighed as much as small dumbbells, almost pitching them to the floor. Vaz was making her nervous, that's all. She filled the glasses, sloshing water over her forearm, wondering if she should just stick her whole head under the spigot to wake herself up. She brought the glasses to the table and Vaz downed his in one long pull. She sipped at hers. The air felt dense somehow, thick, and her own movements were slow and clumsy. What's wrong with her? The sun shone through the windows. The cat washed her face with her paw. Everything in the room looked the same, so why was her skin prickling? What did her skin know that her brain didn't? Her nose filled with a sweet, waxy scent. Do you smell lipstick? She blurted out. I didn't know lipstick had a smell. It does, she said lamely. Sort of. Seeing, hearing, and now smelling things? She got up and put their glasses in the dishwasher, then came back to the table. Julep stopped washing in midstream, paw up, ears twitching. Her shiny pupils had widened to swallow most of her irises, and for a moment Lily thought she saw tiny blue flames reflected in the deep black pools. Lily's lips felt slick and greasy, and she wiped them with her hand. The food, she began, but Vaz's shocked expression killed the words in the back of her throat. What? He opened and closed his mouth a few times, and then said, What did you do to your face? Huh? What are you talking about? She glanced behind him to the mirrored cabinets. Some kind of bright pink color was smeared around her mouth, making it look raw and burned. Lily grabbed a napkin and tried to wipe the mess off her face as her mind jabbered. How did the lipstick get on my face? How? For a second, the air got even warmer, thicker, before a stiff chill wind swept through the room, bringing with it a sooty, acrid scent, like a barbecue doused by rain. Did you feel that? Vaz said. Is a window open or something? No, said Lily. No windows. A cold puff of air filled Lily's ear, and she flinched against it as if it were a knife. She could feel her skin tensing into goose flesh, her stomach twisting into a chemical knot. Somewhere, somebody moaned. Is that you? Vaz asked, alarm pinching his face. Who is that? I don't know, said Lily. There was another chill and ragged breath, and another. Lily twisted away, frantically rubbing her earlobe. Vaz dropped the basketball. Is that breathing? Are you breathing like that? No, Lily whispered. The sound was slow and hushed at first, like the low sighing of someone sleeping in the next room, but then it gathered momentum. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. The fur on Julep's back bristled and her tail grew twice the size. She hissed before she tore out of the room, claws scratching for purchase on the wood floor. Lily threw her napkin on the table, suddenly furious. She would not be scared. She would not. Who's breathing like that? Lily demanded. She twisted in her chair, then got up and charged around the kitchen. Who are you? Where are you? But the breathing got louder and louder and louder, huffing into panting into roaring until she had to clap her hands over her own ears to drown it out. Vaz grabbed one of her wrists and dragged her out the back door to the deck, slamming the door shut with his foot. Oh man, she said, shaking his head. You got ghosts. Chapter 9. Lily glared at the wrist where Vaz held her, and he let go as if she were in danger of exploding. Ghosts? She said as soon as she could catch her breath. You can't be serious. How else can you explain it? What do you mean, how else can I explain it? She said. I could explain it in 1,000 ways. There was somebody in the house. There was somebody at the window. There was somebody in the kitchen or in the hallway. Yeah, but how did jam get in your shoes? How did that pink get all over your face? She imagined the Cupid doll doing a little soft shoe shuffle in the closet. He stared at her mouth. We were the only people in the kitchen. I can't believe I'm hearing this. Lily wanted to cry in fear and confusion. My grandmother lived in a house with the ghost of a parrot, he said. Late at night, you could hear the parrot calling for its owner, Turtle Bunny. Turtle Bunny. That's what the parrot called the guy who owned her, Turtle Bunny. Lily sat at the edge of the deck. Are you sure you didn't take a decongestant before you came over? Vaz laughed, but in a sad sort of way. Hey, that was a joke, wasn't it? He sat down next to her. Let's think about it for a minute. There was the lipstick, the freaky breathing, and your books moving around, right? And the phone calls. Anything else? Lily yanked at the elastic from her hair, spilling the red waves down her back. A doll that was in my basement somehow ended up on my bed. Weird stuff in the fridge. Cold spots. Somebody filled my shoes with jam. That's one I haven't heard before, said Vaz. She tracked her fingers through her snarled strands of hair. But that doesn't mean it was a ghost, right? I mean, it definitely wasn't. Vaz gingerly touched the tip of his nose. My dad talks to me sometimes. Lily said. She had something panting in her house. Why the heck was Vaz talking about his dad? My dad is dead. Lily couldn't believe what she was hearing. What? He died in a storm just off the coast 6 years ago. He went out fishing. He didn't come back. They found his boat bobbing on the water. They never found his body. Oh no, I'm sorry. Yeah, well, Vaz shoved his hands to his pockets. Anyway, he talks to me sometimes. Lily felt a pang in her gut. What do you mean, talks? I don't know. All of a sudden, his voice is just there. Like he's right next to me. Like you are. Like the breathing in the kitchen just now. It's almost like he never left. Except that he can't hear me. What does he say? He talks about fish, mostly. The right bait used to catch bass. The best place to find sharks, stripers. Sometimes he talks about the water. How the spray feels on your face. The sun shining white on the wake. Vaz zipped up his sweatshirt. And then sometimes he talks about my mom. He loved my mom a lot. Lily had a sudden dim and grainy memory of her own father, strumming the guitar, singing low and sweet with her mother looking on, and something inside Lily's throat lurched. That's good, Lily said, before thinking about it, before stopping herself. That's nice that he tells you. It's like... Nah, forget it. What? It's like he's been boiled down to the most essential parts of himself, you know? The most important parts are all that's left. The sea, my mom, and me. Vaz plucked at the folds in his jeans. You think I'm crazy, right? She did, sort of. Yeah, no. I don't know. Yeah, you do. I used to think I was. I'm not, though. Okay. Vaz turned to look at the house behind them and then back at her. Let's pretend you don't think I'm crazy. Who do you think the ghost is? Who died here? Immediately, Lily thought of her Uncle Max glowing green and nuclear in the closet. Max, she said finally. Who's Max? My mom's Uncle Max. How many uncles do you have? There was a creepy painting of him in the front room, said Lily, ignoring his comment. I took it down and hid it in the closet because I didn't want to look at it. Mom said he was dead. Did you ask your mom how he died? Yeah, but I don't think she wants to talk about it. As a matter of fact, I'm sure she doesn't want to. Vaz tugged at the funny curl on his forehead. Look, to get rid of the ghost, we have to figure out what he wants. We? Thought Lily. Vaz stood. Let's find out what happened to Max. How do we do that? Your favorite thing. We start reading. Hoodlums. Let me guess. Let me take a sip of tea. I thought it was getting a little dry. Today I am drinking buttermint tea. It sounds weird, buttermint tea, but it's actually quite delicious. It tastes exactly like a buttermint. It's vanilla and minty. It's very delicious. You add a little sugar to it, and it's very sweet. It tastes just like a buttermint, like something you would get at a restaurant. It's quite good. It's quite a good tea if you like buttermints. Yes, okay. Hoodlums. The woman dug around in her voluminous straw bag with the energy and determination of a squirrel. Where is it? I know it's in here somewhere. The flowers on her cap helicoptered furiously, as if they were attempting to lift her off the ground. The man was lying flat on his back, towel over his face, his white belly like a great heap of bread dough. His wife poked him in the gut until he threw the towel away. Can't a guy get a little sun around here without somebody pestering him every minute? He shouted. There's no need to yell, his wife said. What the heck are you digging for? That scratching sound is driving me nuts. My book. Where is my book? How should I know? The woman dug around some more, then snapped the bag shut in disgust. Oh, nothing's going right today. Oh, quit complaining. You could buy another book. That's not what I mean. Did you hear what that little hoodlum said to me? Which hoodlum? The one in the short skirt. She told me I was dead. That's what she said. I think she was threatening to kill me. Keep your shirt on. No one's going to kill anyone else. But I don't like it, she said. Kids today don't have no respect. You're right about that, he said. There's something wrong with that girl, the woman said. She's up to no good. I can feel it. Just as long as she bothers somebody else. And then you knocked over that other girl's sandcastle and made her cry, the woman continued. He propped himself up on his elbow. Oh, you get over the sandcastle already. If you have to talk, talk about the weather. Talk about... He trailed off as another man, about 25, shambled in front of their beach blanket, a black pony-sized dog with dinosaur fangs nipping playfully at his heels. He's harmless, the man gurgled. A sweetie. I don't know what everyone's so worried about. On one side of his neck looked like a beef casserole. Husband and wife stayed completely still and silent as the man and the dog shuffled away, following the figures with their eyes until the man and saber-toothed dog were out of biting range. The woman grabbed for her purse. I don't know what the world's coming to. I truly don't. Hoodlums, dangerous animals roaming free. I just wish I had my book to distract myself. Oh, I know I packed it. The man grabbed his towel and draped it over his face once again. Yeah, sure, he said, voice muffled. Like you packed the lemonade. Maybe the concession stand is open, the woman said hopefully. Don't hold your breath. Chapter 10. I hate the library, Lily grumbled. Quit your belly aching, said Vaz out of the corner of his mouth, like a cartoon pirate. She didn't complain again, since he had gone back into the house to get their coats. The library was a tiny yellow building on a patch of crispy brown grass. Inside, the librarian sat by herself behind a large counter, frowning at a computer monitor. Her nameplate said A. Reedy. Hi, Miss Reedy, said Vaz. The librarian was the kind of woman Lily's mother would have called handsome. She had a square, strong-featured face, iron gray curls cut in a severe wedge, lean, powerful shoulders. She had tried to soften her look with a pretty neckerchief, but it was like trying to decorate a dam with a daisy. Good afternoon, Vasilius, said Mrs. Reedy. You didn't finish all those books already, did you? No, I'm still working on them. That's just fine. Just make sure you have them back on time. She tapped the monitor that seemed to have perturbed her so. 10 cents a day for every day the book is late, said Miss Reedy. It doesn't sound like much, but it adds up. I know. I'll return everything on time, said Vaz. He curved his mouth into a smile designed to charm testy librarians and everyone else. I always do. Miss Reedy melted a bit. Yes, I suppose you do, don't you? She stood and placed her palms on top of the counter. What can I do for you today? My friend and I are working on a research project for school. We're studying the history of Cape May. We have some wonderful books that talk all about the founding of Cape May. How it began as a shore resort for wealthy Philadelphians way back in the 1600s. The city was so hot and crowded and dirty in the summer. Those poor people were looking for a little relief. Miss Reedy's tone and expression said that she believed that cities were still as hot and crowded and dirty now as they were more than 300 years ago. Did you know that privateers once patrolled the coast, searching for ships to plunder and places to hide? We're interested in more than recent history. We're interested in more recent history, Miss Reedy. The 20th century? Miss Reedy blinked. The 20th century? It didn't seem to be her favorite century. We're interested in some of the families that lived around here. What they were up to. What they were up to, Miss Reedy parroted and frowned again, clearly wondering what Vaz was up to. She turned to Lily. I don't believe I've met you before. Are you a new student? This is Lily. Lily Crabtree, said Lily. I just came to town a couple of weeks ago. Miss Reedy's gold-brown eyes searched Lily's face and hair. I don't suppose you could be related to the Wood family. Said Lily. Vaz grabbed her arm, pulled her away from the desk. Excuse us for a minute, Miss Reedy. He leaned in and whispered, Don't tell me you don't know your family's last name. My mom doesn't like to talk about our family, okay? And I never ask. All I know is our last name. My mother never changed hers. She was born Arden Crabtree and she stayed Arden Crabtree. Vaz shook his head. Arden Crabtree? What is with rich people and their funny names? Look, just because my uncle has money doesn't mean that he gives us any. And just because he offers money doesn't mean my mom will take it, she thought. Basilius, said Mrs. Reedy. I'm sure I can help you if you tell me what it is you need to find. Well, Lily just moved in here, like she said, and she's staying at her uncle's on Perry Street. 206 Perry? Said the librarian sharply. Yes, said Lily. How did you know? 206 Perry is the Wood house. I had heard that the Wood daughter married a Crabtree. Lily wants to research her family. We thought you might have some newspapers that we could look through, said Vaz, unless you already know something about them. Miss Reedy grabbed both ends of her kerchief that she wore and tightened it with a tug. There are many, many families in Cape May. Why would you think I knew something about one of them? Because you know everything about everyone, said Vaz, grinning. Miss Reedy smiled with half her mouth. That makes me sound like a gossip columnist. She pulled out a stack of cards and began stamping them with a date. I have some newspaper on microfilm that might intrigue you. Stamp. If you can give me some dates, I can fetch them for you. Stamp, stamp. Vaz looked at Lily, and she shrugged. Why don't we start around 1900, he said. Do you have stuff going that far back? Of course we do, Vasilius, said Mrs. Reedy. But those are on microfilm, unfortunately. No budget to put them on the computer. You wait right here and I'll get the reels from the back. Vasilius? Lily whispered. Something wrong with Vasilius? No, said Lily, grinning. It's just that it sounds like something you used to treat a diaper rash. Sorry to hear you're still having that problem. Lily shocked herself by whacking him in the arm and smiled when he whacked her back. It was amazing to her that she could be scared out of her wits and have fun at the same time. Maybe guys did that to you. Maybe everything else seemed smaller. Made everything else seem smaller. Maybe that's why her mother just kept going back for more. Here you are. I got your issues of The Star and The Wave from 1907 to 1970. Will that do for now? Yes, thanks, Miss Reedy. You be careful with that machine, Miss Reedy said, pointing at the sole machine on the table in the corner. It's been repaired so many times that I'm not sure it could survive another day at the shop. Vaz nodded solemnly and took the small reels of microfilm. They sat down at the machine and turned it on. It worked to life, sounding a lot like a propeller of an airplane. High tech, said Vaz as he threaded the film to the machine. What are we looking for? Lily asked. Any mention of your family. We can start with what we know. What's your grandfather's full name? Your mother's father. You know that, right? Richard. Richard Crabtree. He died a few years ago. Sorry, said Vaz. It's okay. I didn't know him. Do you know how old he was when he died? My mom always talked about how young he was, but I think he was in his late 50s. Maybe we can find a marriage announcement or something. Let's say your grandfather was close to 60 when he died. That would put his birthday around 1940. At 20-something years, and we're talking marriage about this 1960s sometime. He removed the reel from the machine and then searched around in the pile for the reel dated 1960. He threw one through the machine and turned it on. The issues whizzed by, and Vaz quickly scanned each page before Lily had time to focus. Just looking at the screen made her dizzy. They finally found the notice in an issue dated from February 12, 1963. Mr. and Mrs. Joseph Wood of Philadelphia are pleased to announce their engagement of their daughter, Ruth Ann, to Mr. Richard Crabtree, son of Mr. and Mrs. Harold Crabtree of New York City. The groom is a tax attorney with the firm Grandin and Pert. The bride's father is involved with a number of successful ventures, including steel, oil, and textiles. A June wedding is planned. Lily felt strange reading about these strangers, her family, like she should feel something more than just curiosity. She sniffed. Mrs. Joseph Wood, Mrs. Harold Crabtree. What happened to these women's names? And here they talk about what the groom and the bride's father did for a living. What about the brides? Did brides just sit around eating bonbons and looking cute? I don't think so. That's just how they wrote these things back then. No, that's just how they lived back then. Not so different from how we live now. Vaz held up a palm. Peace, okay? Girl power and all that. Miss Reedy shoved several books in the bookcase near the reader. How are you two doing? Can I get you anything else? We're fine, Miss Reedy. Thanks, said Vaz. Vaz, said a voice behind them. I thought that was you. They turned as a very blonde girl ran up to them, dragging a backpack behind her. Lily recognized her as the girl Vaz had been wrestling with on the boardwalk just a week before. At the sight of her, Vaz sat taller in his seat. Cammy, please don't drag your bag on the floor, said Miss Reedy. Sorry, the girl said. To Vaz she said, Hey, hi Cam, what's up? Not much. She smiled at Lily. She had beautiful rosy skin and wide blue eyes. I'm Cammy. Lily. Lily could see a silver hoop threaded through the cartilage at the top of Cammy's ear. Lily just moved here, said Vaz. You poor thing, Cammy said, half smiling, half grimacing. Unless you're into Victorian house tours, you're going to be pretty bored until summer. She unwound one of the 5 knit scarves she wore. How's the nose? It hasn't fallen off yet, said Vaz. Yet, said Cammy, squinting her eyes up in a way that Lily assumed was supposed to be cute. Lily reached out and touched the tip of Vaz's nose with a glittery fingernail. We may have to glue it on to be sure. Vaz grinned even wider. Cammy waggled the frayed ends of her purple scarf. Listen, I can't hang around. My mom wants me home early today, but maybe we can hang out tomorrow or over the weekend. JD might be having a party. Sure, I'll call you. Cool. She tossed the end of her scarf around her neck as if she were Amelia Earhart off to fly the world. Great meeting you, Lily. Yeah, said Lily. Great. Cammy flounced away, dragging her backpack behind her. She seems nice, said Lily, if you like hip, gorgeous blondes. Vaz's eyes followed Cammy out the door. Yeah, Cammy's the best. Lily watched him watch Cammy and worried that he would start barking and drooling. So where were we? She said, swallowing the disappointment knotting in her throat. Why don't we go back a ways and see if there was anything here about the woods or your uncle's house? My mom said the house has been in our family for like 100 years. They removed the 1960s reel and threaded the machine with the first reel, which covered issues from 1907 to 1910. They scanned articles until their eyes nearly crossed, but found no mention of the woods or the house on Perry Street. They quickly moved on to the 1910s reel. No luck there either. Miss Reedy hovered behind them. You are being careful with that machine? Absolutely, said Vaz. Miss Reedy looked at the screen. Finding anything interesting? We found a marriage announcement, but not much else, said Lily. Keep looking, she said. A good researcher is always persistent. She walked back to the front desk. I don't know how persistent I want to be, said Lily. This is making me nauseous. Vas started the machine with the 1920s reel. He cranked the knob on the machine and tried to focus the picture. The film was blank. The entire reel was blank. Try the next reel, said Lily. They tried the 1930s reel, but it looked as if nothing had ever been recorded on it at all. This is too weird, said Vas. Lily closed her eyes. You're telling me. Try the last one. Vas removed the 1930s reel and replaced it with the 1940s reel. He whizzed through the reel, but all they saw on it was a couple of hairs and some particles of dust. Wait, stop, go back, said Lily. I thought I saw something. What, an ant leg? A fly wing? Vas was axed, but rolled the reel back anyway. There, said Lily. What the heck? Vas began, but trailed off. They stared at the screen in front of them. It looked as if someone had held a match under the film, scorching black letters into the plastic. You're getting warmer. Oof. It's getting kind of spooky, isn't it? Give me one moment. I am freezing. It is freezing cold. I'm going to put on my hoodie. Give me just 1 second. It is snowing so beautifully out today. It's a beautiful snowy day where I am. We don't get snow all winter, but now that it's getting close to springtime, we're getting snow. The last minute snowstorms. Oh well. It's still nice to look at. It's still nice to look at. Hold on, 1 moment. There we go. Nice and toasty and warm again. Let's see. What goes up must come down. Madame Durkin sat at her table, hands snatched at her fleecy hair as she pored over the tarot books piled around her. Though she had read the tarot cards for customers every day, sometimes a dozen times a day, she had always been somewhat creative when divining the future with them. In other words, she just made things up. The Tower, she read. Prepare to adjust to new situations. Being irritable is not going to help. Being irritable always helps, said Madame Durkin, and tossed the book over her shoulder. She hadn't opened the Good Fortune shop since she had first seen the boy with the burning hand some weeks before. 6 separate times now, Madame Durkin had watched the blonde woman with the orange cloak scurry down the brick wall, with the leering boy prancing behind her like some demented pony. He was clearly a sick puppy, and he had clearly seen Madame Durkin watching. Madame Durkin was determined to find out who he was and what he was up to. Her profession notwithstanding, she didn't have any experience with ghosts. Not real ones. But if he was after the woman in the orange cloak, then Madame herself didn't have anything to worry about, and could go back to cheating her customers as usual. But who knew what a ghost was after? That was when she decided that it might not be a bad idea to try to read the tarot cards. Really read them. She attended many conventions with so-called psychics, kooks and screwballs with just a couple of brain cells among them, and watched them read the cards as easily as they could read a calendar. If the kooks could do it, then surely a woman with Madame Durkin's brains and sensitivity could do it too. She pulled the deck of worn tarot cards from the pocket of her satin robe and cut the deck with her practiced hands. Taking a deep rattling breath, she laid down the first card. Queen of Swords. Madame pulled out another tarot book from the pile and read, A Quick-Witted Woman. Madame smiled to herself, remembering how often she had savored her own sharp wit. She placed the second card over the first. The second card was supposed to tell her what forces were operating against her. Knight of Wands. Her eyes narrowed to slits when she saw the picture on the card, a fair young man with a fiery torch held high. The book said that this mischievous young man could be troubling. No kidding, said Madame Durkin. She placed the third card beneath the first two. 3 of Swords. The card depicted a red heart pierced by 3 long swords with black handles. Blood dripped down one of the swords. Pretty, said Madame Durkin, flipping through her book. Pain, she scowled. Yeah, sure, pain in the neck, you mean. Shaking her head, she placed the fourth card face down, to the left of the cards 1 and 2. You're supposed to tell me what happened in my recent past, as if I don't know. She flipped the card. The Fool. Excuse me? Madame snapped. She consulted the book. The beginning of a journey, at a crossroads. Choose your path wisely. What journey? What crossroads? I lived in this lousy town for 20 years. She immediately slapped down the 5th card, the 8 of Swords. Confused, unable to think clearly. Can we please get to the point? The 6th card, the immediate future, was the 2 of Cups. A tender new romance or a beautiful friendship. A wonderful surprise. It sounded like the romantic twaddle her clients always begged to hear from her. She skipped the next 3 cards, which were supposed to reveal her hopes and fears and what other people thought of her. As if she needed to be told that she hoped to be rich, that she feared she wouldn't be, and that other people thought she was a genius. The 10th and final card, the outcome of the situation, the answer. Come on, she said to the back of the card, doing her best to keep from yelling. Just give me a little information. Just a little hint. What's the kid want? Who is he mad at? That's all I want to know. She turned a card over, the Wheel of Fortune. What goes up must come down. That's it? That's it? Shouted Madame Durkin. I could have gotten that out of a fortune cookie. She stood and with one long branch-like arm swept the tarot cards off the table and watched as they floated to the floor. 20 years she has been coming to the shop day in and day out, slaving over crystal balls and sweaty palms to give knucklehead tourists a little excitement. And for what? So that she could end up haunted by some demented dead kid? This is no kind of life for a person of her talent and intelligence. She should have bought into those condos in South Carolina when she had the chance. Now she was stuck. She looked down at the table. A single tarot card face down remained on its surface. Why not, she thought, and turned it over. A creature with a man's torso, fur haunches and cloven feet, horns curling madly from a high forehead, a sly smirk. Men and women, small and cowed like rabbits, chained at his side. The devil. Pure hokum, warbled Madame Durkin with a reedy note of fear in her voice. She stood and kicked at the cards piled up on the floor, flipping a few of them face up. The horned man smirked at her from each. What? She cried, her bony hands pressed into her sunken cheeks. That's impossible! There's only one in the deck! She dropped her knees, frantically flipping the cards. The devil, the devil, the devil, the devil. All of them. Every single one. Excuse me. Chapter 11. One moment. I'm sorry to have to tell you this, Miss Reedy, said Vaz, stacking the microfilm on the counter in front of the librarian. But these reels are blank, mostly, and one of them was a little messed up. The frown lines around Miss Reedy's mouth deepened. What do you mean, blank? Messed up? There isn't anything on them, said Lily. That's impossible, said Miss Reedy. You can check for yourself, said Vaz. Miss Reedy's mouth got so tight her lips vanished. I can't believe it, she said. I don't know how many times I told people that they must treat library materials respectfully, but do they listen? No. They just do whatever they please with no regard for Miss Reedy, excuse me? But do you have any other copies of these newspapers anywhere? Maybe in the back rooms? Miss Reedy opened each reel of the microfilm and peered into the case. I'm afraid to say I do not have any other copies of these materials. Vaz tapped the counter lightly with a pencil. Do you know where we could find newspapers like these? In another branch of the library, maybe? There is a branch in Cape May Courthouse, about 12 miles up Route 9. I'm not sure if there's a bus service. Perhaps one of your parents can take you. Vaz puts his elbow on the counters and leaned forward. There's nowhere else you can look. No secret papers in the basement that only you know about. Miss Reedy drew back. Secret papers? Vasilios, I think you've been watching too many movies. Reading too many books, you mean, said Vaz, and pulled his elbows from the counter. Thanks anyway, Miss Reedy. Vaz and Lily were almost out the door when Miss Reedy said, Wait a moment. They walked back to the... Hi, Deeds. Hello, come. Are you looking at the snow? Silly girl. Vaz and Lily were almost at the door when Miss Reedy said, "Wait a moment." They walked back to the counter. "I suppose I do have some books that might be helpful." "That would be great, Miss Reedy. And Miss Reedy tugged on the ends of her scarf. "You could contact Bailey Burton at the Historical Association. I'm sure its library is well stocked with books and papers you can use." She sniffed. "The Historical Association has many generous benefactors." "Where is the Historical Association, Mrs. Reedy?" Lily asked. The librarian looked at Lily. "Bailey Burton runs the Historical Association from his home on Perry Street, number 204. "That's right next door to your house," Vaz said as they walked out of the building. "Yeah, I know. And I think my uncle knows that Burton guy, too. We had to get the house key from him when we first got here." "He probably knows all about the house then," said Vaz. We won't have to read any more on microfilm." "Maybe," said Lily, thinking about Bailey Burton, a.k.a. Angry Baby Man. He wasn't all that friendly. Vaz handed Lily the 3 books on Cape May that they had taken out and looked at his watch. "It's almost 5 o'clock. You probably won't have time to go to that Historical Association guy today, but maybe we can go tomorrow. I can come over after school." Out of the corner of her eye, she watched Vaz walking alongside her, his stride long and confident. She liked him, but what did she know about him? What about super blonde, super cute, super cool Cammy? Would he change his mind if Cammy wanted him to come over? "Hello," Vaz poked her in the arm. "Is tomorrow okay or not?" Sorry, I was just thinking. Yeah, sure, tomorrow's fine." "Are you sure?" "Sure," said Lily, not sure at all. "Why are you looking at me like that?" asked Vaz. "Like what?" "Like I have some kind of gunk caught in my teeth and you don't want to tell me." Skin hot, Lily turned her face away. "I was just thinking that I should go to meet my mom at the store. It's in the mall. I don't want something I can't see breathing on me again." They took the long way to the library from the library to the mall, weaving through the city, meandering past rows and rows of elaborately painted houses, and even larger and that are even larger and fancier than Uncle Wes's. A few had placards hanging from their mailboxes with names like the Jeremiah Hand House and the Abbey in curlicues and flowers. Vaz saw her staring. "There are plenty of regular houses in this town that don't look like that," he said. "All you have to do is work your way back from the shore, go north a little bit, and you'll see what I mean." "Where do you live?" Lily asked. "North," he said. One corner of his mouth turned up. "In a little house about 10 blocks that way. Pretty far. I used to walk 30 or 40 blocks sometimes when I lived in New York City." His eyes widened at the words New York City. At the words New York. Excuse me. "I've never been to New York City." "What was it like to live there?" "Pretty okay. Lots of cool museums. But my mom had to work a lot. New York is expensive." "Was it just you and your mom?" "When we first moved there was a guy, some political activist or something. He was nice but kind of dull, always going on and on about the government and the capitalists. My mom thought we would move in together and maybe get married someday. But that guy decided he didn't want to be so active anymore and moved to Seattle to open up a coffee shop. So it's just us. And Julep. My cat." "So where else have you lived?" Well, I was born in California. We lived there until I was about 5. Then we moved to Chicago. Then it was Indianapolis, then Cleveland Heights in Ohio, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and then New York City. After that, New Jersey, Hoboken, New Jersey, Wayne. We ended up in Montclair, and now here." "You moved 10 times in 8 years?" 3. 3 of those were in the same year." Vaz whistled. "Whew, you guys really got around." "It's not like I wanted to," said Lily. "Maybe not, but it sounds kind of cool to me." Vaz glanced down at her. "How long do you think you'll stay here?" "I don't know. Summertime, probably. Or until my mom meets another one of her frogs. Oh, I mean Prince Charmings." Vaz smiled but didn't comment. Here's the mall, he said. It looks weird in the winter. Nobody here. You should see how packed this place gets in the summer. Shoobies everywhere. Shoobies? What's a shoobie? Tourists. Why do you call them shoobies? I figured you asked that, said Vaz. Back in the 1800s, poor people who came to the shore just for the day would bring their lunch in shoeboxes. The rich people got annoyed at that their fancy hotels were being overrun with these kinds of people and called them shoobies. Kind of stuck. Now that you live here, you have to start using the correct terminology. I'll try to remember that. He gave her a long look. Did you know that your eyes look exactly like green olives? He asked. Without the pimentos, of course. No, I guess I didn't, said Lily. Didn't Vaz like olives? She stammered. Here's my mom's store. I mean, I hope this is it. I don't think there are two stores named something fishy. Lily caught her tongue between her teeth to stop herself from babbling. The door to the jewelry shop flew open, and Lily's mother peeked out. I thought I saw you through the window, Lily's mother said. What are you doing out here in the cold? She grinned at Vaz, who smiled back. Lily had no choice but to introduce him. Mom, this is Vaz. Vaz, this is my mom. Hello, Mrs. Crabtree. It's nice to meet you, he said. Miss. It's Miss Crabtree. And it's wonderful to meet you, she said, and winked. Lily shoved her hands into her pockets. Lily hated when her mother winked. So, Lily, I'll see you tomorrow? Vaz said. Yeah, okay. Bye. Yeah, okay, she mumbled. Bye, he said. As soon as he was out of earshot, Lily's mother said, Where did you find that hot taco? Lily pushed her mother into the store. The hot what? Lily's mother backed up and shut the door, the bells that hung from it rattling. Hot taco? He looks like a spicy one, don't you think so? Any guy her mother liked was guaranteed to be a complete fraud. Lily's heart thumped. Hello, madam? Are you trying to... I think Beans is trying to catch the snowflakes that are falling. I just heard like a squeak and a scratching. She's trying to catch the snowflakes in the window. Oh my goodness. Cats are funny creatures, man. Y'all, cats are funny creatures. Hold on. Where was I? I forgot where I was. Hold on. Any guy her mother liked was guaranteed to be a complete fraud. Lily's heart thumped. I don't think of guys as food products, Mom. Lily dropped the books on the floor and unzipped her coat, almost ripping off her fingernail in the process. And you shouldn't talk like that. Like what? About hot tacos. It's not normal. Lily's mother hiked up her acid green skirt around her pink stocking calves like a flamenco dancer. You were expecting normal? Since when? Never mind. Beans! Wait, nope, get off the thing. The cats want attention, oh goodness gracious. Lily's mother hiked up her acid green skirt around her pink stocking calves like a flamenco dancer. Give Beans a hug for me before crashing the stream. I will give Beans a hug when she jumps back on the table. She wants attention. She between wanting to chase the snowflakes and wanting attention, she's just all over the place. Never mind. Lily's mother dropped her skirt. Are you wearing lipstick? Lily wiped a hand across her lips. It's juice. Juice? Juice, said Lily. So are you going to show me around or not? Are you going to tell me about Dark and Handsome? Nope. So I might as well show you around. True to its name, the store was packed with jewelry and gifts inspired by the ocean and its residents. Lots of shell brooches and necklaces, vases encrusted with coral, lampshades made of beach glass. Lily poked at a pair of earrings shaped like tiny little women in bikinis. The polka-dotted bottoms were loose and wriggled if you flicked them. Lily's mother wrinkled her nose. I refuse to take responsibility for that. Not my work. Yeah, I know. said Lily. You're usually not this cheesy. Usually? Lily's mother said. I seem to remember a certain little girl who loved my work. You even wanted to make jewelry yourself, remember? Not really. Oh, sure you do. You were always stealing my pliers. Do you want to see what I'm working on now? Lily sighed. All right. Arden circled the glass counter, packed with bracelets, rings, and watches, and slipped into the back room. She returned with the little blue velvet pouch, which she handed to Lily. What's this? Lily asked. Open it. Lily slipped the pinky into the top of the pouch, loosening the drawstring. She turned to open pouch, and a thin silver chain with a round pendant slid into her waiting palm. Wow, Mom, said Lily, inspecting the battered silver pendant. This is what Julep was whacking around the night that Uncle Wes came over. I found it under the couch. I had to solder a link for the chain, but other than that, it was perfect the way I found it. The light winkled off the pendant's funky raised markings. What are these symbols? I don't know. You can't really make them out, can you? I like how it's all beaten up. Lily held the necklace out to her mother. Really nice work. How much are you going to charge for it? Nothing, said Lily's mother. Said Arden. Nothing, said Arden. It's a gift for you. Mom, you can get at least $100 for this. I know it. But as she spoke, Lily turned to the mirror sitting on the countertop to see what the necklace would look like hanging from her neck. The pendant fit perfectly in the hollow between her collarbones. Her mother appeared in the mirror behind her. How can I sell it after I've seen how gorgeous it looks on you? But Mom, really, Lily, I made it for you. I want you to have it, please. Her mother put both hands on Lily's shoulders and squeezed. Lily was about to argue some more, but saw the pleading look on her mother's face. She fingered the pendant. It is pretty cool. Her mother beamed. I knew you'd like it. She kissed Lily's cheek. I'm starving. What do you say we pick up some things for dinner and go home? Lily helped her mom put her tools away in the back room. They put on their scarves and coats and turned off all the lights. They were locking up the store when Lily's mother leaned over and whispered in Lily's ear. Don't look now, but that odd woman from across the street is spying on us. I said don't look! But Lily had already turned and caught the woman staring at them from her store windows. She looked like a badly drawn stick figure in a gray fur hat. She immediately ducked out of sight behind a heavy black drape. The good fortune shoppy, Lily said, pronouncing the last word shoppy. I think it's pronounced shop, Lily, said Arden. Shop, shoppy, whatever. Lily read the list of services soaped onto the glass in the door. Tarot, palm, and psychic readings. Medium services available by appointment. What's a medium? Somebody who thinks they can talk to ghosts. Ghosts? Said Lily, biting her lip. Yep. They walked for a few minutes in silence. Do you believe in them, Mom? Do I believe in what? Ghosts. Her mother's face was suddenly grim as a headstone. Only the live ones. Chapter 12. Lily hadn't known what to expect when she and her mother came home from the grocery store, but it wasn't what she found. The house, which had seemed so frightening and bizarre when she and Vaz had been chased out of it, was suddenly as quiet and ordinary as any on Perry Street, as any as anywhere. There were no objects flapping around, no invisible beings hyperventilating, no spirits or thieves marching up and down the stairs or crouching in the toilets. The phone crouched as unruffled as a cat, and as for the cat herself, she was snoozing on top of the refrigerator. That's it, Lily thought. I'm losing my mind. Lily put a pot of water on the stove to boil. Lily's mother put a pot of water on the stove to boil the hot dogs they bought. Thanks for cleaning up, she said dryly, picking up a spoon that had been pasted to the countertop with peanut sauce. Sorry, Mom. We had to leave in a hurry. We? Said her mother. This wouldn't be you and the hot taco now, would it? Lily's mother pulled some buns from the plastic grocery bag. Look, I'm thrilled that you're making friends and all that, but I'm not so thrilled at the idea of you having boys over when I'm not here. He just came by for a little while, Lily debated. Lily debated telling her mother about the phone call and the breathing, but remembered her mother's "you're just making things up because you're mad" attitude. We just had some Thai food and talked about the old man and the sea. Uh-huh. It's true! Lily took the spoon from her mother's hand. I mean, look who you're talking to. What do you think I'm going to do? Have all my junior high friends over for a rave? Arden laughed. I guess that's highly unlikely. Still. Hi, Beans. How are you doing, pretty girl? She wants so much attention right now. Come. No? Silly girl. Come on, Mom. He said he was going to come over tomorrow and help me with the stupid book. He likes that book. Really? He likes The Old Man and the Sea. Yeah, said Lily, but I decided not to hold it against him. How big of you? Her mother said. Did you finish those essay questions? Yourself. Tomorrow your last chance, okay? Otherwise I'm going to make you wade through Moby Dick. Get it? Wade? Lily covered her ears. Bad, Mom. That was really bad. Lily was sure that nightfall would bring more surprises, or at least a little uneasiness, but the quiet of the house and her mother's presence lulled her into questioning that anything really scary had happened there at all. But the quiet of the house and her mother's presence lulled her into questioning that anything really scary had happened there at all. By the time Lily was perched at her usual spot at the dining room table the next day, she had convinced herself that if there was a ghost or a spy, he didn't know who he was dealing with. At age 9, she had fed Julep through a dropper for 20 days after discovering the 4-week-old kitten in a garbage can on Mott Street. At 10, she was babysitting for the family in the apartment next door. At 11, she had driven her mother to the hospital when bad chicken had made her mother too sick to handle the car. Lily had taken care of herself since she was little, since the terrible night her father had taken his guitar to a gig and hadn't bothered to come back. She wasn't going to scare so easily. At 3:30, Vass showed up with a box of hot chocolate. My turn to buy, he said. Maybe we can have some after we talk to the Bailey guy. He said this as if a cup of hot chocolate in Lily's kitchen were a date at a nice restaurant. Lily's toe curled inside her warm boots. Okay, Lily said shyly, taking the box and putting it on the floor by the stairs. Maybe we'll be able to drink it without somebody breathing all over us. Lily got her coat, and she and Vaz walked next door to Bailey Burton's house. Bright red with blue and white trim, and little stars cut into woodwork above the porch, the house looked like a giant 3-dimensional flag. Lily rang the bell and stuffed her hands back into her pocket to keep them warm. The door opened a crack, and a lone raisin eye glared at them. Who are you? What do you want? He sprayed these questions like a man who wouldn't even be satisfied with the answers to them. Hello again, Mr. Burton. Remember me? Me and my mother are staying. My mother and I, barked the man. Excuse me? Beans? What's wrong? You can't catch the snowflakes? Come here, pretty girl. Come here, pretty girl. Come on. Come on. Come on, relax. Relax, mamita, relax. Oh my goodness, you're such a drama queen. Hold on. Shh. Hey, what do you make look such a drama queen for, huh? Go ahead, baby girl. I gave her a hug. She did not like that at all. Let's see. Hello again, Mr. Burton. Remember me? Me and my mother are staying. My mother and I, barked the man. Excuse me? It is not me and my mother. It is my mother and I. Oh. Well, Lily said, sneaking a confused glance at Vaz. My mother and I are staying at the house next door? Don't ask a question if you're making a statement. It makes you sound like an ignoramus. Lily squared her shoulders, getting irritated with the raisin and with the person it belongs to. My mother and I are staying at the house next door. It's my Uncle Wes's house. The librarian told us that you run the Historical Association. She sent you. What for? Vaz and Lily looked at each other. She thought you could help us, said Lily. With what? Okay. Well, since you know my uncle, I was wondering if you knew anything about the house, or maybe you could help us figure out some of the history of the house. The door opened wider to accommodate the man's other eye, but not so wide that Lily and Vaz could see the man's whole face, just a stripe down the middle. The piggy eyes looked like chips dropped in pancake batter. I don't know what that woman's thinking when she sent you here, but I'm sure that your uncle will be happy to tell you the history of the house, if he knows what it is. Why don't you ask him? Well, it's a surprise, said Lily. I thought I would do a family tree for my uncle, as a present for letting us stay at his house. The man's smile was cold and empty as a snowman's. I'd love to help you, but I'm afraid your uncle's house, your uncle's family, is a bit of a mystery. Not a lot of records on them. Excuse me, sir, said Vaz, stepping forward, but we were hoping that you might have some copies of some old newspapers or pictures. Maybe something you missed. A piggy eyes pinned Vaz. I don't miss much. If there was something about that house to be found in the Historical Association's library, I would have found it already. The man drew himself up to his less than considerable height. I am the foremost authority on the Cape May history in this area. As a matter of fact, I wrote 2 books on the subject. That's very nice, but I don't think I can help you, the man interrupted. Maybe you can just see the library. The library is closed for the time being. I'm packing things up in order to move it to a new location in a few weeks, and most of the documents are already in boxes. I'm sorry. He didn't sound sorry. Vaz said, Oh, but sir, the man tipped his egg-like head. What are you? Excuse me? You're awfully dark. What are you? Vaz turned darker, dark red. I'm Greek. Greek? Said the man, and slammed the door shut. They stood there in shock for several minutes, until Vaz turned abruptly and marched down the stairs. Lily had to scamper to keep up with him. That guy, Vaz spat. Lily nodded in agreement, but Vaz wasn't even looking. His face had turned a deep shade of plum. Forget him, Vaz. He's just a little man with a complex. He's not alone, you know. There's a lot of people like him in this town. There are a lot of people like him everywhere, Vaz. The worst thing is to let them get to you. That's easy for you to say. Lily felt as if she'd been punched in the stomach. What are you talking about? What do you mean? Vaz scuffed his sneakers on the sidewalk. Forget it. You think I don't know what it's like to have people hate me for no reason? Did you ever try to go to a school in a ritzy neighborhood in clothes from the Salvation Army? Look, you're right, he said, running a hand through his hair. It's just that this is the second time this month. This is the second time this happened to me this month. The second time. Vaz touched the tip of his nose. Remember this? There's a kid who will call you names if you got more pigment than the moon. Most of the time, no one pays attention to him. But this last time, I couldn't help him. I couldn't help it. He couldn't bother me, so he decided to bother my mom at work. She's a waitress at Gorgeous George's Crab House. He went there with a couple of his friends, requested a table in her section, then called her every name their feeble little minds could think up. Her hair is red, he said, as if that made a difference. And then they stiffed her for the bill. Vaz was plumbing up again. The manager is just as bad as the kids. He made her pay for that bill. But that's not fair, said Lily. Tell me about it. So I jumped the guy after school. He broke my nose. Lily winced. Maybe you should just have started a rumor that he wears girls' underwear or something. Hey, that's not bad, Vaz said. But it worked out. I picked his pocket while he was pounding at me. He had $22 and a pack of gum. I gave my mom the money. I gave the gum to my dog. His name is Argos. Isn't that a cool name? Argos. Odysseus' dog? The one who lived more than 20 years and then died when Odysseus finally came back? Oh, that Argos. Lily, you really have to start reading some books, girl. She stood in the doorway, watching her breath caught up in the air in front of her, wondering why he would stand in the cold and fight with her what he wanted. Oops. Then she thought about what she wanted. She wanted to know what was going on. She wanted to stop being the serious girl whose wacky mothers had more boyfriends and more fun. She grabbed his sleeve and hauled him into the house and shut the door behind him. My mom told me about chicks like you. I didn't want that guy to hear us talking, said Lily. She scooped up a box of hot chocolate, unzipped her coat, and led him into the kitchen. I think we've got to get a look at that library. But the guy just told us it's closed. He's packing it up to move it. Come on. Something weird's going on. Did you hear what he said? I don't know what that woman was thinking when she sent you. Yeah, so? So? Do you really think that he's packing his archive to move it? Vass smiled wryly. No. I don't think Mr. You're Awfully Dark What Are You wants to help us. Lily pulled a packet of hot chocolate from the box. That's why we're going to help ourselves. What do you suggest? She tore off the top of the packet with her teeth, surprising herself for once. How do you feel about a little breaking and entering? Chapter 13. Lily and Vaz agreed to watch Bailey Burton's house for a couple of days before they try to do anything against the law. We'll keep track of when he comes and goes and how long he's gone, said Lily. That way we'll know the best time for us to break in. Vaz eyed her what she hoped with admiration. Are you sure you haven't done this before? He and Lily did most of the spying together, running from one window to the next, peering out, making notes in a notebook. Duck! Vaz dived beneath the window, pulling Lily down with him. What's going on? Lily asked. Burton was looking right at us into this window. I think he saw us. So? So you have binoculars around your neck, Lily. Lily looked down, first at the binoculars, then at Vaz's hand still holding hers. So, maybe we're birdwatching or something. Come on. She sat up and leaned against the wall. Look, he's been going out at 3 every afternoon and coming back around 5. What do you think about trying it then? It's kind of risky, said Vaz. It's the middle of the day. Most people are still at work, and we'll try the basement window in the back of the house, the ones behind the bushes. Even if someone were looking, they wouldn't see us. Good idea, said Vaz, leaning up against the wall next to her. You know, you may have a future in crime. Lily pulled the binoculars over her head. I have a future in engineering. Is that where you want to be? That, or an accountant, or maybe something else in finance. Whatever pays the best. I like science, but they don't pay scientists very well. My mom might think being poor is cool, but I don't. Finance, said Vaz. I'm impressed. I have no idea what I'm going to do. I don't want to work in a restaurant, and I don't want to be a fisherman. Do you know that being a fisherman is more dangerous than being a cop? She remembered. Hi, booby. Please don't walk on the. Okay, I gotta. Hi, buddy. How you doing? Just rub it up. Just rub up all against the mic. Yeah. Hi. What's up, buddy? How can I help you? You wanna plop your butt down so I can finish reading? You wanna plop your butt down so I can finish reading, buddy? That's a good boy. Oh my goodness, such a mama's boy. Such a mama's boy. Oh my. Hi, sweetheart. He just woke up from a long sleep. He was a sleepy boy. Oh my goodness. Oh, I'm not getting my left hand back. Hi, buddy. You see your sister? Okay. Okay, yep. Go ahead. Off you go. Please don't mess with my mic arm. Please don't mess with my mic arm. Good boy. I love cats, you guys. I love cats. They're such funny little creatures. Alright, let's see. Let's see. She remembered his father, the empty boat bobbing on the water. I didn't know that. Well, it's true. Has your father, said anything about that? You mean my dead dad giving me career advice when he haunts me? Yeah, she said. I mean, that's what I mean. I guess that's what I mean. Lily was surprised he could speak so matter-of-factly about his father, about his ghost father. She didn't even like to mention the fact that she had a father. Does he ever tell you what you should do? He doesn't tell me what I should do or not do, just what he did. And Dad loved fishing. Apart from me and my mom, it was his whole entire life. But since he died, I don't like it very much. For a moment, Vass's face went all loose and sad, but then he smiled and bumped her in the shoulder with his own. How about we go into business together? You can be the accountant and I can be the idea man. The what? The idea man. You know, the guy who thinks of all the big ideas. The guy who understands the big picture. And what is the big picture? Guys are better than girls. Can you get us in the house? Willie asked. No. Then I'll be the idea man. We'll break in tomorrow. The next day, a half hour before Bailey Burton locked up his front door, Lily and Vaz were crouched next to Bailey Burton's basement window and were thrilled to find that he kept them unlocked. The basement was dim but not dark. Lots of boxes and old furniture laid rotting on the damp floor, and there was a strong smell of mildew. Ladies first, Lily said, and crawled in front of the window, turned to face Vaz. She put both feet onto the opening and wriggled her body through like a woman trying to fit into a tight pair of jeans. She landed with a soft thud on top of a pile of soggy newspapers. Ugh, she whispered. I think something died down here. Hi, buddy, you're back. You wanna lay here again? Yeah? You just wanna take up the entire space, my entire reading space, so I can't read? Yeah? Okay, I hope you don't mind me laying my book on top of you then. Fat chunky boy. Oh my goodness. This is what happens when you have cats. They want all your attention. Alright. Vaz wriggled through the opening feet first the way Lily had, also landing on the newspapers. Ah, man, he whispered, covering his nose. Let's get upstairs. He wouldn't keep anything important down here. It's too gross. Vaz lifted one of the newspapers, which seemed to be growing dozens of little brown feet. Mushrooms, he said, pulling out the tiny disposable camera that he brought. What are you doing? Taking a picture. For what? Science class. They made their way through the piles of junk, trying very hard not to touch anything, and walked up the basement stairs. The door at the top was closed, and they looked at one another as Lily turned the knob and slowly pushed open the door. The dining room table was worse than any dump. Half-eaten burgers were half-wrapped in tissue paper and shoved into an empty piece of boxes upon them which cheese had hardened into plastic. Old soda cups... Bye, buddy. You go? Okay. Bye. I believe in you. You can read this. Oh, I'm definitely reading it, but my cats want attention, so... They're just jumping all over me. So... Yeah. How you doing, Wasabi? I hope you're doing well today, buddy. I hope you're doing well today, friend. Old soda cups leaked sugary water onto the scratched surface of the table. Paper plates littered with crumbs and smeared with sauces perched on every surface. The chair at the top of the buffet on the pile of books. I think Mr. Burton's got an eating disorder, said Vaz. It's a disorder, all right, said Lily. She kicked at the burger that was on the floor with a few bites taken out of it. It reminded her of a leaf ravaged by a hungry caterpillar. Lily pictured Bailey Burton and revised her label for him. He wasn't angry baby man. He was angry larva man. Vaz picked up a straw and lifted the corner of a pizza box. You think there are any human bones under all of this? Lily shivered. Let's find that stupid library before we catch something. Or worse. They walked through the dining room, down the hallway. They found the library on the other side of the large front staircase. Unlike the other rooms they had seen, the library was clean and neat. dominated by several huge bookshelves, the spotless fireplace, and a large oak desk. I bet this is the only room he lets people see, said Lily. People would run screaming if they saw anything else, said Vaz. He ran a finger over the spines of the books in the shelves. Look at all these weird books he has. He pulled down a volume. The Life Cycle of the Horseshoe Crab. It's nice that he keeps up with his relatives, said Lily. He walked a few feet and pulled out another book. Bold in her britches. He flipped to the back cover. It's about girl pirates. That's even cooler than the crabs, said Lily. Not necessarily, said Vaz. The crabs could eat the girl pirates. It's a food chain thing. We found fungus in the basement and bacteria in the dining room. This whole place is a food chain thing, said Lily. Her stomach was quivering both from disgust and excitement. Excuse me. Do you see any newspapers or anything? No, not yet. He's got to keep them around here somewhere. You don't think he has them on microfilm or something, do you? He could, I guess, said Vaz. But I don't see a reader. He plucked the model of a ship off the mantel. Queda Merchant, 1699. I know this name, but I can't remember where I heard it. I think I found the papers, said Lily. There's a rectangular wooden rack with rows of spokes running horizontally. A newspaper was draped over each spoke like a pair of slacks on a hanger. Lily removed the paper. The Cape May Star and Wave, she read. September 29, 2002. She put the paper back and pulled out another. November 13th, 2002. She shook her head. These are too recent. The older ones have to be somewhere else. Vaz put the model back on the mantel. Did you look in all these books? He knelt and gestured to a shelf full of large albums covered with leather. These look like big scrapbooks or something. He sat on the floor and opened one in his lap. This is it, Lily. Look. Lily sat down next to him. The large albums contained copies of old Cape May newspapers, with each paper in its own plastic cover. He keeps his old papers cleaner than he keeps his silverware, she said. He keeps his old papers cleaner than he keeps his silverware, she said. What's the date on that album? 1977. Okay, is there a book for 1930? She scooted on her knees across the floor, head tilted sideways so that she could read the legends. Yes, here it is, 1930. She pulled it off the shelf and opened it on the floor. She and Vaz flipped through the articles. There's a lot on the Depression here. There's a lot on the Depression here, but not much else, said Vaz. Let's try the next volume. They replaced 1930 and pulled out 1931, 32, and 33. After some reading and flipping, Lily said, Look at this, 1934. Mr. and Mrs. Arthur Spicer wished to announce their marriage of their daughter, Miss Catherine Spicer, to Mr. Joseph Wood of Philadelphia. The couple plans to winter in Philadelphia and summer at the Wood family home on Perry Street in Cape May. Miss Catherine Spicer and Joseph Wood. This have to be my great-grandparents. They removed that section of the paper out of its protective cover and snapped a picture of the marriage announcement. They then flipped through the rest of the pages, hoping to find something else mentioned Spicers of the Woods or the house on Perry Street, but found nothing. We got dirt, said Vaz. Try the next one. 1935 was a good year. Mr. and Mrs. Joseph Wood of Philadelphia and Cape May are pleased to welcome their daughter, Ruth Ann, born in April. They snapped another photo. They had to look through 2 more volumes and before they found anything else. Mr. and Mrs. Joseph Wood of Philadelphia and Cape May are pleased to welcome their son, Wesley Arthur, born in November. Keep digging. There's got to be something about Max next. And they found a notice in 1943. Mr. and Mrs. Joseph Wood of Philadelphia and Cape May are pleased to welcome their son, Maximilian Joseph, born in July. Lily and Vaz looked at each other. Uncle Max, said Lily. It's a good thing they don't have any baby pictures. Ugh. Vaz focused the camera on the birth announcement. That's scary, huh? She thought of the weird painting hidden away in the closet. The sickening smile, the glowing eyes. Yeah, that's scary, said Lily. Vaz looked at his watch. We don't have much time left. Why don't we split up the volumes? It'll go faster. They each paged through the big volumes one by one. 1944, 1945, 1946. Lily made a discovery in 1951. Cape May lost one of its most prominent citizens this weekend, she read. Mr. Joseph Wood died of a heart ailment late Saturday night. He was 52 years old. A public service is planned for Wednesday. Your family has some pretty bad luck, said Vaz. Yeah, no kidding, said Lily. Joseph, her great-grandfather. She wondered what he was like. If his family missed him after he was gone. Here's something interesting, said Vaz. 1955. Mysterious fire in a barn. I got something about a mysterious fire in 1956, too. A boat burned up. Weird, said Vaz. But that doesn't have anything to do with anything, does it? Lily shrugged, finishing going through 1957 and 1958. Another fire in 58, she read. A concession stand at the beach. The police suspected it's arson. I wonder if they ever found the guy. How do you know it was a guy? Hi, buddy. Yes, that's my arm. How can I help you? Hello, I'm well. I just got off some Rising Storm too. I hope you had fun. My cats are demanding my attention today. So I don't know. I'm between reading and petting my cats today. Let me have a sip of tea before I continue. Cheeky cat fellas, yeah. Beans it's snowing today a little bit. It's like a light snowstorm today. So Beans has been trying to chase the snowflakes and get my attention for cuddles. Now Bubby's doing the same thing. He wants cuddles and attention. My cats are funny little creatures. Alright. How do you know it was a guy, said Faz. The same way I knew you were going to say that. Maybe it was a gang of girl arsonists. They were probably in a turf war with the girl pirates. There were no fires in 1959, and no mention of the woods. I don't think we're going to find any more here, said Vaz, and Burton's going to be back to tend to his fungus farm in about 15 minutes. One more, okay? Said Lily. We have time. She flipped open the cover of 1916 and gasped. Vaz, look! A mysterious and tragic fire erupted on the third floor of 206 Perry Street late Saturday night. One person was killed. Owned by Mrs. Joseph Wood, the house suffered moderate fire and water damage, but was safe before the fire reached the second-floor bedrooms where most of the family was sleeping. Deceased had been identified as Maximilian Woods, 17. Investigators believe that the young man may have started the fire as a prank, but was trapped on the third floor when the fire raged out of control. Memorial services are scheduled for Monday. The funeral followed on Tuesday. Uncle Max was killed in the house, said Lily. Didn't you think of that before, asked Vaz? Don't ghosts usually haunt the spots where they died? I don't know what ghosts do. Not real ghosts, anyway. She hadn't known Uncle Max, but he was a member of her family, and it was a horrible way to die. As if there were a good way. What's up there? Where? In your attic. I tried getting up there once, but the door was stuck. You know, she said, when I was looking through the keyhole, I thought I smelled smoke. We'll break into the attic next, said Vaz. He snapped a picture of the article and tried to close the book. Come on, Lily, put the book back. We have to go now. Wait, she said. She flipped through the rest of the pages. Hurry, Lily. He'll be here any minute. We have to go. There's more. Investigators now believe that Maximilian Woods, killed in a fire in his mother's summer home on Perry Street, may have been responsible for the rash of mysterious fires that plagued Cape May since 1955. The family vehemently denies these charges. My son did not set those fires, said Mrs. Joseph Woods, and we intend to prosecute those who seek to smear my son's name. Vaz pulled the book out of her hands and hauled her to her feet. What are you doing? I want to keep... He's back, he whispered in her ear as he dragged her from the room. Burton's back. Chapter 14. Lily could hear the key turning in the front door as they slid down the hallway, sneakers squealing, through the dining room, back towards the door to the basement. Burton swore, muttering to himself in the front entryway as Lily eased the door closed behind her, wincing as the latch made a little tinny click. She thought she could actually see her heart beating through her sweatshirt. They snuck down the stairs, stepping lightly as so not to make the rickety old thing creak and moan. At the bottom of the short staircase, they stopped to listen. Footsteps thudded directly above, ceased, then thudded again, seeming to move farther away. Lily could feel Vaz's lips against her ears as when he whispered, "If he goes into the library, he'll see the books on the floor." Lily nodded, and they crept towards the open basement window. He stared at it. It hadn't seemed so high coming through the other way. Lily moved some squishy newspapers out the way, picked up some books, and started to stack them underneath the window as quickly and quietly as she could. Vaz did the same. There was a hoarse shout from above, and the sound of feet pounding through the house. Lily jumped on top of the books, grabbed the windowsill, wriggling frantically as Vaz pushed at her feet. Vaz jumped up on the books and pulled himself out in one smooth motion. As his sneakers cleared the open window, they heard the basement door open with a bang, and Burton's voice yelling, "Who's there? I know someone's in there. I've got a gun and I'm not afraid to use it." Vaz and Lily burst from the bushes and ran through the yard to the red cedar fence that separated Burton's property from Lily's uncle's. They dropped to their knees and crawled behind a thick row of evergreen hedges that grew alongside the fence, scratching their hands under their faces in the process. They both heard the basement window creak in protest as Bailey Burton slammed it shut. "The fence doesn't go all the way around," whispered Lily. "It stops at the back. We just have to get to the end, and we can sneak into Uncle Wes's yard." They got on their bellies and wormed their way toward the back of the property until they reached the end of the cedar fence, just to make it into Uncle Wes's yard when they heard something thrashing the bushes on the Burton side. The air fled Lily's lungs when a knowing voice wafted through the cedar planks. "I know you're out here," Bailey Burton whispered, sneaking through the bushes like dirty little animals. Lily and Vaz didn't dare move. They waited until the thrashing and the threats subsided. A long time. And they heard Burton walking back towards the house. And then they waited a little longer, just to be sure, until their hands were so cold and stiff that they could barely unclench their fists. "That was close," whispered Vaz. "I know." "He had some nerve calling us dirty." "I know," said Lily. "You know what else?" "What?" "It's really freaking cold out here." "You're the idea man," said Lily. "Do you think it's safe to stand up and walk to the back door?" So they waited even longer until the sky looked angry and dark and burned around the edges. "Okay," said Lily. "Can you stand up?" "I think so." They stood and staggered to the back door, propping themselves up against the house as Lily tried to maneuver the key into the lock, tried to turn it with her rigid hands. She almost cried in relief when the back door finally swung open and they fell into the kitchen. She closed and locked the door behind them and dropped into one of the kitchen chairs. "Do you think he would have actually have shot us?" she said, after they'd been sitting for a while, and she could feel the muscles in her face begin to thaw. "We didn't even know if he had a gun," said Vaz. "I didn't even see him. Did you?" "No. Do you think he knows it was us?" Vaz squirmed uncomfortably. "Yeah. Who else would it be? A burglar? A burglar that didn't steal anything?" Vaz unzipped his coat. "We were just at his house asking to see some old documents, and he tells us to get lost. No deal, right? Then he comes home one day and finds the same documents we asked about all over the floor. What do you think he's going to think? Do you think he'll call the police or something?" "I don't know." Lily tugged on her lip with her teeth. "I'm sorry I got you into this." He shrugged and pulled his camera out of his pocket. "I got myself into this." Lily asked the question she had been dying to ask. "Why did you get yourself into this?" "Maybe I like an adventure." "An adventure?" "An adventure. Maybe you do this kind of stuff every other week. I don't know. But I don't. I lived in the same place my whole life. Cape May has flower shows, not nightclubs. The biggest thing that ever happened to me is the worst thing that ever happened to me." He looked out the window. "I usually read about this kind of stuff. I don't get to live it." "Oh," she said, amazed that he could think her life was like this all the time. He reached out and pulled a twig from her hair. "And anyway, maybe I like you. You're pretty funny when you want to be. Lily stared stupidly at the twig in his hands and tried to think of something cool and funny to say. Something that would make him touch her hair again. Then Lily had to bite her lip harder to keep from laughing at herself. She had just broken into some guy's house, discovered her uncle's house was haunted by a boy arsonist who had burned to death in the attic, been chased by a giant larva with a gun, and here she was thinking about guys. Vaz was watching her, and she dropped her eyes to her hands. They were dirty and raw and scratched, so she got up to wash them in the sink. Since we're officially criminals, she said, why don't we break into the attic? See if there's anything up there. She scrubbed at her skin, even though the soap stung. Unless you don't want to. I wouldn't want you calling me a girly man or anything. She couldn't help but smile. That would be a compliment. They took off their jackets and Vaz washed his hands, and they searched the kitchen for things that they could use to pick the attic lock. A couple of forks, a plastic toothpick, an expired bank card that Lily's mother had left on the counter. As they climbed the main staircase, the phone rang. They looked at each other. Bailey, said Vaz. Could be one of those cranks who never say anything, said Lily. Won't know unless you answer it. Lily walked back downstairs and picked up the receiver with both hands. Hello? Lily? The voice sounded as if it hadn't been used in a century. Lily's stomach lurched. Is this Lily? Yes. Well, this is your uncle, Wesley. Your uncle, Wesley Woods. Oh, said Lily. Vaz mouthed, who is it? But Lily waved him off. How are you? Cough. Fine, thank you. And you? Fine. Lily waited. And your mother, how is she? Lily switched from one foot to the other. Fine. The two of you are getting along? You're comfortable? Yes, thank you. No problems I need to be aware of? No. Well then, very good to hear. Silence. Are you finding everything you need? Yeah, said Lily. I think so. Are you sure? The house is quite large, though I expect someone of your age would have explored every inch of it by now. Uh-huh, she said. Another silence. Lily thought she could hear the grinding of teeth. Have I interrupted something? I have a friend over. We're doing homework. I won't keep you then. Will you please tell your mother I called? Yeah, okay. Very good. Goodbye then. Bye. Lily hung up the phone and walked back up the stairs. That was my Uncle Wesley. Really? What did he say? Why didn't you ask him anything about the house? He didn't say anything, really. And I didn't want to just babble about ghosts and things. I don't want them to think I'm a total freak. They reached the stairs to the attic. Vaz pointed to the faint coating of dust on the floor, now stamped with footprints. Who's been up here before? Me, said Lily. Oh, and whose prints are those? She saw a smudged set of prints going up the middle of the stairs and coming back down again. But there was another clear set of prints on the left side of the stairs, close to the wall. This setup went up, but didn't come back down. I think the ghost guy, whoever it is still up there. Unless they came back down the middle like I did, said Lily. Vaz pressed his lips together, but Lily knew what he was thinking. What she was thinking. That crazy Uncle Max was in the attic, waiting for them. Lily grabbed the card from Vaz's hand. Might as well get this over with. She marched up the stairs, deliberately stepping on the prints on the left side. She put her hand on the porcelain knob, expecting it to stick, but almost fell back into Vaz when the knob turned easily in her palm. She glanced at Vaz, then pushed the door open. They stepped into the dark. Lily shook her head. I don't see anything, do you? That's when the door closed softly behind them. And I think that's where I'm going to leave it. Because we are all out of time for today. We finally got through some of it, and we're almost partway through the book. We're about halfway through the book at this point. We got a whole bunch more to read, so we'll be able to get through that next week. And finally, my ADHD brain rot didn't cause me to lose focus too much. The cats caused me to lose focus, not my silly scumbag brain. Okay, this was fun. I hope you like it. 2-hour reading stream? God damn. My reading streams are usually 2 hours. Most of my streams are usually 2 hours. It's just that we always have so much fun that we don't notice. But yeah, so that's it for today. I'm gonna go and relax. It's snowing out today. I'm probably just gonna do a little light cleaning around the house, play with the cats because they seem to be all over the place today. And yeah, I think I'm gonna take it easy today. I thought they were like an hour long. No, they're about 2 hours long if I can manage it. But yeah, so that's it for today, guys. I'm gonna go turn off my brain. I'm tired. Sleep last night had eluded me, so I'm going to go relax. Probably just vegetate and chill and stuff. I don't know. But yeah, so you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. I love you all so very, very much. And remember, hug your friends, tell someone you love them, and be a force for good in the world, because goodness knows the world needs more goodness. You guys already know, I don't stream on Wednesdays, so I will be seeing you guys on Thursday for the art stream. We're going to finish drawing our awesome, cute, kawaii, purple-haired girl, Basil, and yeah, we're going to have a good time. Alright, everyone, I love y'all, and I will see you guys Thursday. Hold on. My mouse died, so I have to do this I have to do this with the stupid touchpad. I hate the touchpad so much. I love you guys. Bye!